about the mechanics of pulling a straight bow. Now, to start off, what I do is I divide the bow in two, the upper half and the lower half, so that I can concentrate on each individually. I start off on the E string because the position is easiest to find. You let your upper arm just hang, and you bring your forearm in a right angle with your upper arm, and the bow into a right angle with your forearm. That's a so-called square position. And what you do then is you play from the middle, this is just above the middle, to the tip. Now, the main movement is done by the forearm. But if you watch closely, you will see that my upper arm has to go forwards a little bit in order to keep the bow straight, because if it doesn't, what I will get is this, because this is just the way our hand has grown. So if I don't use my upper arm, my bow won't be straight. So the upper arm has to go forwards a little bit. I'll show you again. Start with the square, and then you go to the tip. Now, to get a feel for this upper arm movement, you can exaggerate. You can bring your violin more to the left, and that will force you to basically move your upper arm and actually stretch your arm until it's completely straight. You can exaggerate it just to get a feel for this movement. And then go back to playing normally. Bring your violin into your normal position. Start with the square. And do that on all strings. It's the upper arm which determines what string you're on. So you start with the E string because that's easy to find. Your upper arm just hangs, just where it's naturally grown. And then in order to get to the A string, you just lift your upper arm. D string the same. G string. It is your upper arm which determines what string you're on. Now the next thing I do is I do the lower half of the bow. I start in the same position, the square position. And what I do is I imagine the bow is going up and it's just pulling my hand and the arm which is attached to the hand along with it. So the bow is going up and the rest is just coming along. Same on the other string. You have to actually bring your hand in a little bit, because if you're coming from here and you don't, your bow won't be straight. So one of my teachers when I was a child said, bring your right hand to your nose. That's the direction. That's of course far too much, but that's just to get an idea. You basically want to bring your right hand at least to the string and to the bridge. Remember to curl your fingers and bend your thumb in the bottom half of the bow. So I practice that on all strings. And then I start putting them together. I start in the middle, square position, and then I do the upper half and the lower half. Again on all strings. And then I do the same thing without stopping in the middle. I start in the middle because that's where I've always started. So it's always good to start with something you can already do. And I practice that on all strings. Now, to control a straight bow, you can do it with the mirror to get an idea. I personally don't find the mirror very helpful, except right in the beginning, just to get an idea of where my hand actually has to go. But basically, since you're not playing with the mirror long term, it's better to control. If you want to control it visually, then watch the hairs on the string and make sure that your bow hairs are parallel to the bridge. That's the visual control, which I find helpful. Otherwise, get used to what does it sound like when the bow is straight. So you have your ear controlling it. And then remember, where's your hand going? What is the movement of your arm? I find that sufficient. Don't get too frustrated about working at a straight bow. That's something you work at all your life. It's just like that, because we're going against what the body is built. The body is built for doing this, and we're going against it. It's a more complicated movement. So just keep up practicing it. Bye.